this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're all okay. Very depressing news on the TV all the time at the moment. Very worrying place to live in our world at the moment, I think. So I'm trying to bring you a little bit of light relief here with some crafting projects. This is the card that I shared on Saturday evening and a blog hop, which the theme was embossing techniques. And I've used 3 embossing techniques on my card, so I'm going to show you how I made it. The most unusual one that I've used is this partial embossing. I don't know if I can bring it up to the camera a bit, whether we stay focused. You can see that I've only embossed the central panel of my white card. Got blank here and here, and I'm going to show you how I achieved that. And then I've got a little bit of embossing on the shelf. Don't know if I can catch that on the camera for you. Don't know if you can see that, but it's actually an integral part of the die. Oh, if I can get it off my magnetic dish, it's very strong magnets. If I hold this up, can you see it's got marks on it? So those marks emboss, so it makes it look like real wood. And then I just did a little bit of heat embossing on the greeting. So I'm going to show you how I made my card. Just realised I haven't got my heat gun or my embossing powder out, so I'll grab that later on when we need it. But anyway, I think I've got everything else I need. So let's make a start. So I've got a piece of white card. It's much too big for what I need, but there's a reason for that. It's if I don't get the embossing quite central, I can then trim a bit. So that's why I'm using a bigger piece of Whisper White. So pop that in your embossing folder. There we go. Try and straighten it up. Oh, before we pop it in, need to do something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 very light pencil marks around where I want my panel to be. So this piece of cardstock measures almost 6 inches. So it's 5 7/8. So I'm just going to move my ruler so I've got a central point. So this is my central point, and I want my panel be, that's 5/8 and that's 5/8. Oh no, I want a bit wider than that. I'm going to do 4. There we go. We'll have that. We'll have so I'm measuring at 2 inches and 4 inches across, and so I'm just doing a very light pencil mark, which I will rub out later on. Don't want those marks on there. These pencils are fab because you've always got an eraser handy and they rub out really well. So pop your card into your folder. And what I'm going to show you how I managed to get the partial embossing. So I'm going to just going to get my grid paper out of the way. I'm going to take my cut and emboss machine. And because this is a 3D, this is called the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. Because it is that folder, I only need 2 plates. I need a number 1, the big thick one. And then I need a number 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position, I've lost my marks now, there they are. I'm going to position my number 4 where my pencil mark is. So this part of the embossing folder won't have any weight on it, won't have any pressure on it, so it won't emboss. So it'll only emboss from where I've got the plate. But I'm not going to push it all the way through. I'm only going to do a couple of cranks because I only want it to go to there. So I'm going to feed that in carefully till it grips, and then turn it. Oh, it's quite hard to turn because it's quite a thick embossing folder. So I'm going to do a couple of turns and then take it out. And then I'm going to turn my embossing folder around, and I'm going to do the same thing with this side. So I'm going to put my plate in there, push it through until it catches, and then just do a couple of cranks through. And then hopefully that will be our centre panel embossed with the rest left white. There we are. Perfect. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. And then all that's left to do, I'm going to get rid of my embossing, my cut and emboss, bring my grid paper back down. And then I just need to rub out my pencil marks, and I've got my panel with just part of the middle part embossed. Really good. And you can see it sort of fades off. It's not a clear cut because the pressure sort of fades away. So but I quite like that effect. Yeah, so let's go about putting our card together then. So I use soft sea foam on this one as my background. This one I'm going to use pale papaya. Just going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to take, so I've got a piece of cardstock here that measures, let's measure it for you. 21, of course it's 21, that's the A4 width, by 40 is 14.6, this piece of cardstock. So it's obviously a piece that I've cut another card blank from. So I'm going to score it at 10.5 centimetres. So if you want it in inches, trying to do more imperial measurements because a lot of people want them. This is 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, and then you score at 4 1/8 inches. Right, okay, so we want our panel, just going to burnish this, we want our panel to fit on there with a little border. So you need to decide how big you want your border to be. I'd like my border to be 3 millimeters each side, which means I've got to do it 6 millimeters less. So on the length side, it needs to be 14 because my card is 14.6. So that's nice and easy to do. I can just trim off a part of that and that should fit nicely. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. And then this one, let's just measure. So it's 10.5, so I need it to be 9.9. So measure across the middle. This is 14.7. So it's 7. This is my center point. And then I want it to be, what did I say? I want it to be 9.9, which half of 9.9 is 9.5. So if I put that there and then put that there and that there, that should give me a panel that is the right size. So I measured the halfway mark and then worked out what half of the width was that I wanted. Put that halfway mark on there and then marked at the beginning and the end. I hope that made sense. And then these pencil marks just fit in the cutting channel, so I can trim off there. Now this wastes a little bit of cardstock, so you could start with just your size cardstock card blank that you wanted and not do that, but just in case your embossing isn't accurate and it doesn't end up in the middle, that does give you a chance. Although it wouldn't really matter if the embossing wasn't in the middle. You could make this card and it could be slightly asymmetric, but that's my card blank. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some Tombow. Just give me a minute, I just need to find, there we go. Just in case it's a bit watery, I'm just going to know it's fine. I dampened my sponge down, my cotton wool down yesterday, and it was just a bit, when you first do that, the nib sometimes sucks up some of the water. Right, there we go, and I'm going to need my spreader that my lovely friend Jez bought me. I did send some of these out to some of my team and a new member the other day. I thought these were quite a nice gift. Very useful to have in your stash. And then you just want to position this so that your borders are all equidistant. So the Tombow will give you a bit of wiggle room to just move that around and get that positioned really nicely. There we go. So that's my card blank. I'm going to put that to one side while we do the other bits that we need. So what else do we need? We need 2 pots of flowers and a shelf, and we'll do the sentiment in a while as well. So the 2 pots of flowers, we'll just take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I can find my Whisper White. Let's find a scrap in here that we can use. That'll do, that's enough. So we've got these stamps in the stamp set. So you've got the greenery and then you've got the flowers, so you can get these two-toned images, which is really great. Yep. So we're going to stamp what am I doing? This one. So I'm going to stamp this in Granny Apple Green. Like so. Do it this way around to conserve as much card as I like. That's the Granny Apple Green. I'm going to do the other greenery, because there's two different sorts, in Old Olive. On my previous card, I did them in Granny Apple Green and Pear Pizzazz, just in case you wanted to know. There we go. And then I'm going to come back in with the flower stamps, and I am going to stamp this one in here. This one goes in here. So I'm going to stamp that with Mango Melody. So ink that stamp up, and then you can see through, and you can see where there's gaps in this image where your flowers are going to fit. So you just need to maneuver it around until you can see. Am I doing this right? No, it's on this one. It's this one. That's why it didn't fit. There we go. So you can see where, just where they fit. Just turn it slightly until you find the right place, and then stamp. How beautiful is that? Lovely. Love it. And then the other one I'm going to do with Pear Pizzazz. So this is the other flower stamp. And again, just wiggle it around. Get it so that you're getting the flowers in all of the spaces. And stamp. Perfect. Really loving that. And then the only other two things that we need to do, oh, I've forgotten to get one of them plated up. I need this. So I'm doing a jug. I'm doing the jug, and I'm doing this sort of flat, smaller pot. You've got a bigger one there as well. Got lots of choices in terms of pots for this. You've got a jug, a big pot, small pot, medium pot, lots and lots of choices. And these are going to be stamped in Crumb Cake. Like so. Like so, there we go. And then you just need to take your dies and die cut them all out. So we've got this die, which is going to cut this one. And this die, which is going to cut this one. If I was really going to die cut this, I would hold them down with washi tape. But I'm just doing this to show you at the minute. I've already got some ready to use. This pot there. Look how wonderful these dies are. Oh, I've done this a little bit close. So what I would have to do if I was doing this is die cut that one and then come back in and do that one. But you get the idea. So all of those, once die cut, will be these. And then the only other thing we need is the shelf, which is cut, like I said, with this die that has the embossing on it so that it looks like wood. Okay, so let's bring our card blank back in. And we are going to glue our trough or our shelf there. This is a great stamp set. I don't know why I've not used it more. I think I did the wrong thing again with this catalogue, in that I bought a whole load of stuff that I liked, but I just forget that there aren't enough days in the week or hours in the day for me to use everything. So I end up with sets that I hardly use at all, which is really annoying. Oh, I've got this upside down. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Let's make sure it's the right way up. So I'm going to try with the next annual catalogue to buy just a couple of things and use them, and then buy more things. Right, there we go. That's my shelf glued on. I've glued that direct to the card blank, but I'm then going to take some dimensionals and mount these. So I'm going to do my pots first. Should we have a bit of a change around? Should we have the jug over that side and the pot over this, which is the other way round to what I did the others. So what should we do? Let's have some little ones. That's all right. And then this one. That's enough. They're very light, so you don't need too much. There we go. Right, I wonder, while I do this, we're going to have a little chat. I wonder how you're all doing. Such depressing news, isn't it, at the moment? I can't bear to watch it most of the time. It's really, really getting to me and affecting my mood. Trying to do what I can to help, donating and whatever, but it doesn't seem to be enough, really, does it, when you think what these poor people are going through and how traumatized the children must be. I do feel for them so much. I hope it's going to be over soon. I just can't bear to think that it goes on and on for months. Right, and then we need to do the flowers. What I don't want is dimensionals at the bottom, because I want them to be the same level as the jug. So I'm just going to do dimensionals at the top here. So don't put dimensionals too near the bottom, otherwise you'll have a double layer of dimensionals on the jug, which you don't want. Running out of these little ones here. Might just put one there. I think that will be all right. So now you can mix and match these. I've put this one on the jug. You can put the other one on the jug and the other one on the pot, whichever way around you want it. There we go. And that just goes on there. Perfect. They're just such lovely little stamps. I love them. And this bundle, am I right in saying that this bundle is one of the ones that is 20% off? I'd have to check. Don't want to give you false information, but there's a load of bundles. I think it must be, because it's all the ones that will fit in the mini. And I think all of these dies do fit in the mini. So I think this will be one of the ones. So this bundle will be 20% off until the end of March. So if you're interested, do get it now while it's 20% off. I just think there's endless possibilities with it. Like I said, I've not really used it enough so far. Right, and that's going there, so slightly overlapping there. So as you can see, I've gone yellow, orangey yellow. This one I went pink. Really pretty though, really love them. Okay, and I think the brickwork just finishes them off. Right, the last thing we need to do is our greeting. I'm just going to disappear for 2 seconds while I grab my embossing powder and my gun. Right, I'm back. Right, I've had my heat gun out for about a month, just sitting on my floor, and I decided to tidy up my room a bit and put it away. And typically, as soon as I put it away, I need it. Right, okay, here's my white embossing powder. I've got a little slip of pale papaya card, and I've got the greeting, the happy birthday greeting from Turtle Friends, which is just a nice, simple happy birthday. So I need my Versamark. Should really do my embossing buddy, shouldn't I? Trying to cut corners, but I shouldn't really. So just, there we go. So stamp, stamp, stamp. Try and get it straight on here. It's not the end of the world if it's not straight, but it will save you doing another cut if you can get it straight the first time. And this is going on here. There we go. We've got an exclamation mark there, which I don't particularly want, but I'm going to sort that out in a minute. So here's my heat gun. Just going to heat it up for a little minute before I put it on. So otherwise it's blowing cold air and it's going to blow the powder away rather than heat it. So just waiting for the magic to happen. There it goes, and it goes a darker, much brighter white once it's melted, so you can see the greeting much better. Oh, that's hot. There we go. When I first started using embossing powders and doing heat embossing, I didn't have a heat gun. And so I used to hold it, put my toaster on and hold it above my toaster. It worked surprisingly well, actually. I'm just going to cut this down now so that I've got a little strip with this greeting on. Like so. Yeah, I used a toaster. So if you're sitting there thinking I can't afford a gun, you could try the toaster trick. Right, so I'm going to cut very carefully, cutting the exclamation mark off, and then just as close to the H, and that is my greeting, and that is going there. How beautiful is that? Right, so I hope you like that partial embossing technique. You could use it with lots of our embossing folders. Really nice effect and not too difficult to do. You just got to position your plates a bit carefully. But it's quite easy. I managed to do it on my first attempt, which for me is unusual because usually it takes me several attempts to get things right. There we go. So there are our cards. Welcoming window with partial embossing with the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder. Hope you've enjoyed that. Please remember to use my code if you are ordering so that I can send you a free gift. I had several people who didn't use it this month, so I can't send them a product gift, and I would love to. Our product gift this month was a set of these rhinestones. Beautiful. They're with a new suite of products that's available called, I think it's called Ocean Waves. And I love these. I thought these were beautiful colours. Lovely, lovely colours. So I kept a pack for myself, and I bought a pack for all my customers who used my code. But the ones who didn't use the code, unfortunately, didn't get the gift. So if you are ordering, please use it. For March it is XNWV 3T7U. It's always on my blog, so please have a pop over. The link to my blog will be below, and a link to all the products that I've used today will be there as well. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and please come back and see more of my videos another day. Press the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any. Bye for now.